On today's season preview, part 9.
We saved the biggest award for last. Who is the front runner to win this season's most valuable player?
We make picks for guys we could see on the move and select the most underrated team.
And Curry, Kyrie, Melo, or the King, who is the most clutch player in the league?
The starter's 72 burning questions starts now.
Oh, Willie!
Willie Reed!
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to part 9 of the Starters NBA season preview. Whether you're listening to this on the podcast or you're watching us live on NBA TV or a little bit later on YouTube, we're happy to have you. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tass Mellis.
Let's NBA!
To his right, it's the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily, and last, certainly not least, down there, it's Littlebeard, Trey Kirby.
Hey,
yo! We're obviously pumped up because we are nearing the end of our 72 Burning Questions season preview series. 64 cues up on our investigation board and a whole lot of string. We're getting close to cracking this case. We're not even gonna have to watch the season.
Yeah, all these are completely right.
Yeah, once we figure it out. But we pick it up here. We have 8 questions remaining. We're at question 65. As we've been doing throughout these, we ask you to play along. Jump on Twitter, hashtag the starters with your answers. All right, question 65. I know you'll have some responses out there. Who wins most valuable player? Let's hear it.
I think it's LeBron James. I think it's a perfect storm for him to win his 5th MVP title. And I'll tell you why. He hasn't won it the last 3 years. The guy that we all consider, except for you, the best player in the game right now, there's no voter fatigue at this point. Even though he's won 4, he hasn't won it in so long. He's going to be 32 when voting happens. I think he looks at MJ and the historical comparisons and says, I got to win one, before I get well into my 30s. The guys over in the Western Conference that are probably the other second and third best candidates or best players in the league, they're playing on the same team. So they're going to take away some votes from each other. And as far as the definition of MVP goes, many people define it differently.
Right.
Is it the most valuable player on your team, like a James Harden or a Russell Westbrook? If you define it as that, then you're not voting for Steph. You're not voting for KD. You're either voting for LBJ or you're voting for Russell Westbrook and James Harden. So I just think he'll get the votes this year that he needs.
You don't worry at all about LeBron playing even less minutes per game, taking off a couple weeks at a time, because we've seen, and it works, he doesn't need to play all 82 games for his team. He doesn't care if they're a third, second, first seed in the East. He feels pretty confident, again, as he should, that the Cavs are going to roll through anyone in the East and get to the finals. You don't think that could come into play because it has in years past?
That's a fair question, but I think he knows his body better than ever, and considering that he took 2 weeks off 2 seasons ago, he had to take them off. I think now he knows how to warm that body up and rev it up. So 2 weeks he took off 2 years ago.
Yep.
Then last year it was 76 games he played.
That's true.
So I think that'll increase. I don't think he's going to play any less games than that.
The key thing you said is you think if LeBron wants to go get number 5 and get closer to MJ and Kareem and those guys, that's different than him not wanting it and just hoping to get another Finals MVP and another championship. It's whether he wants it and whether he cares.
And what happened last year? When Steph got it.
Yeah,
he made a few little comments.
Good point.
I mean, he said that Steph deserved it.
Yeah.
And let's be clear, and words get twisted by what these guys say all the time. And he said, hey, Steph, he deserved it, but when you talk about most valuable, then you can have a different conversation. So take nothing away from him. He's definitely deserving for that award, for sure. He got killed for saying that. He does obviously look back and think, or look at the league, the landscape, and think he's the best player, as he should. And so
Most of these guys do.
Yes,
Your upper echelon guys.
Well, so does J.R. Smith. So does everybody. And he probably wants this one. It just feels that way.
I think he definitely wants it because I think he might have felt slighted those last couple of years, especially because now he has got the championship to prove it. He also might have the sympathy of the voters who overlooked him in the last couple of years.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Because he has been so good and so consistent for so long, you take it for granted.
We moved on too fast.
We did, and I think now, because he's been the villain for a long time,
Right.
now there's a brand new, big, fat, juicy villain. He could be the guy who just benefits greatly from that. Also, the Cavs are guaranteed 55 wins no matter what.
Right.
So he's going to have the wins. Some of the other players in
and the seeding probably.
yeah, and some of the other guys in that in the MVP chat might not have that many wins. Some of them, perhaps. Russell Westbrook, for example,
Right.
he's a guy who they might start off great, but if Russell has, for example, a huge load to carry, that might catch up with him later in the season.
So you guys both go LeBron.
I'm going LeBron,
You
yeah.
go LeBron as well?
No, I'm choosing my beard father, James Harden. I think we can all agree last year definitely a lost season for him and the Rockets. Harden reportedly shows up out of shape at camp after an ankle injury in the summer. Whatever beef he had with Dwight Howard led to a lot of turmoil in the locker room. Their coach was fired. Just a disaster all around. But I think that's actually good for this year because to me, Harden is at his best when there's been a ton of doubters around him. You look at the 2012-13 season, nobody knew if he'd be a great number one guy, and he comes out and he was excellent for the Rockets. The next year, gets killed for his defense the entire season. So 2014-15 comes back, has the best season of his career. Second in the MVP, won the Players MVP, and then last year, as we know, was not great. He has a lot of people to prove wrong. I think he's got a great new coach next to him in Mike D'Antoni, who's going to be able to craft a perfect system around him. The players they added are going to be a bit better help to him this year. They just fit really well. But the main reason I'm picking him is because I'm sticking to my guns. Here's what I had to say about James Harden way back in April.
Rockets finally done. We can stop talking about the Rockets for a little bit. Trey, time for one more headline.
James Harden MVP next season. You heard it here first.
Wow.
This has been a 6-month-long campaign, and the season hasn't even started. But I'm expecting a big season from James Harden. 29, 6, and 7 last year. Didn't even make All-NBA.
In a down year.
Yeah, no
what's
doubt.
crazy
And if he
about
does that again this season on a better team, if they win another 10 games, if they're in the 50-win range, I think he's definitely going to be in the mix. He's going to be doing so much for that team.
But you got to be a top 2 seed. I mean, the last 30
Maybe.
years,
Agree.
there really hasn't been a third seed that won it other than MJ, and that was MJ towards the end of his career. So he's got to win a ton. Are they going to win more games? The Warriors, the Spurs, Clippers, even. That's the problem. That's
You're
definitely
right.
the
When
problem.
you look at MVP, I do agree with you. You need almost like the 3 ends, if you want to call them that. You need the narrative, or at least it helps having the narrative. You need numbers in terms of your statistics, and then you need that number one, usually that number 1 or number 2 seed, at least in your conference. But that's why I go with Russell Westbrook, and that last one's going to be tough. But the first 2, Russell Westbrook, check and check.
Yeah.
I mean, the narrative is set up for Russell Westbrook to be an MVP favorite. Kevin Durant leaves him, sends him one text, goes and joins the supervillains out there in Golden State, and now it's Russell Westbrook to try and carry the load, which he's even had some success and some experience doing when Kevin Durant was out injured and put up unbelievable numbers. The numbers are going to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, 30, 10, and 8 is in play with Russell Westbrook, with the usage rate that he's going to have and the load he's going to have to carry. Could he even average a triple-double over a season? Very, very possible.
Yeah,
and
if he wants,
that is why I think the narrative and the numbers, because I don't think they're going to be a number 1 or number 2 seed in the West, but those could be enough if you average a triple-double and you got that unbelievable narrative and you get close to 50 wins. That, to me, is enough. That would do it. I think people would vote for him then.
I mean, he might also have the sympathy vote as well because Durant left him.
Of course,
people
that's
are
the narrative. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, people are saying Durant left and you've still been able to get that team up there. The biggest task is, like I said earlier, can he maintain that pace and that high intensity level for an entire season? We know he's only got one speed, that's 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But if he gets an injury perhaps or he slows down or something like that, then it could just affect his candidacy.
I think he's going to want to get his guys going for the first couple months. I think he's want to show the entire league, hey, I'm not a selfish player.
Yeah.
He's got something to prove.
I'm going to get a lot of assists each and every game. All these guys are great candidates, and we haven't even spoken about Kawhi Leonard. I think he's the scary candidate, quietly working, not going to his San Diego State Hall of Fame induction because he wants to play in a preseason game. He's just working his butt off. And he kind of had a quiet exit in the playoffs last year. He's scary because he does it on both ends. They're going to win. They're my pick for the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, so they have that going for them. I think the Warriors' number, as far as their win number, isn't going to impress anybody because they won 73 last year. So that kind of knocks down Durant and Curry to me.
Oh, for sure. I mean, a lot of look. Even with Westbrook and Durant, we saw at times them sort of splitting the votes.
Yeah.
Both guys were top 5 guys, but not enough to get number 1. So okay, let's go over who we picked for MVP. We have Tass and Lee going with LeBron James. Trey, you got Big Beard, James Harden, and I will go with Russell Westbrook. As I said, the Thunder have to have an unbelievable year, and when I mean that, it's got to be 50 wins or so for him to actually take it home. Let's hear from you guys though on Twitter when we come back. Who will be the biggest name to be traded this season? We'll debate that and a whole lot more when we come back. Back with the starters, back with the 72 burning questions. We're at question 66 overall. Guys, who will be the biggest name to be traded this season?
I think it's Kenneth Faried of the Denver Nuggets. There's just too many bodies in the Denver front court, and he just doesn't fit in. Yusuf Nurkic is back healthy. Jokic has been deemed untradeable by Michael Malone in the past. Darrell Arthur signed a contract. Gallo and Wilson Chandler can play the 4. They've got a man by the name of Juan Hernan Gomez nicknamed Wancho. You got to play that guy. And Fareed has a desirable contract. He's got 3 years left. And in this landscape of the NBA, when you've got a contract like that, people will want it. And since he signed it in 2014, it just hasn't worked out in Denver.
Will they want to give up a first-round pick for Kenneth Fareed? You think someone would do that?
Well, I don't know. Maybe they'll take talent back. You think they only want a first-round pick?
Well, you just listed.
got a lot
They
of young
have a
guys.
whole bunch of young talent.
They do.
I can't imagine them wanting more young pieces.
Maybe
I could
a
be
vet.
wrong, but
Maybe a vet,
why not
possibly.
pick? Yeah, it's in play.
But-
I think it's a great pick because I think
Yeah.
he'd be moved as well. What about you, Trey?
Well, I'll be shocked if the Kings do not trade Rudy Gay this season because he's been in trade rumors for months, if not really years at this point. It started in July, made a trade request to the Kings. It was linked to the Bulls immediately, didn't happen obviously, but it really hasn't stopped since then. He's been linked to the Heat and Thunder since then. And he's got a player option after this season. Woj reported that he already told the Kings he's going to opt out and probably won't re-sign there next year. So they better trade him now before he leaves for no reason. And I think Rudy Gay is the kind of player that a lot of teams can talk themselves into. He's got size, he can score, he is versatile. Other players around the league like him. They think he's a really good player. And I think it's easy to see a team who thinks they're just a piece away saying, yeah, let's roll the dice on Rudy Gay, see if we can get something going here.
Or
He's
an
Jeff Green-like.
Yeah, he's Jeff Green-like,
Or an
exactly.
unfortunate incident to some team at the
Yeah,
3 or 4,
exactly.
and you're like, you got to plug somebody in there. You can go get Gay for probably fairly cheap. Okay, that's a good one. What you got, Lee?
I'm going with DeMarcus Cousins, Rudy Gay's teammate. I mentioned on the hot seat the other day, I think it's time for the Kings to cash in their chips on him because it's been a disaster pretty much his whole career there in Sacramento. And he's seen so many other guys walk for nothing. If you're the Kings, you can salvage something out of this situation by at least getting pieces in return and perhaps starting a rebuild process. I just don't see why DeMarcus would want to stay there. He's got 2 years remaining on his contract. I think he needs a fresh start. I think the Kings need a fresh start. And I think there's so many teams would love to take a chance on him because he's got a very desirable contract as well. Again, considering everyone's got money out there. And he's just so talented. So you know the price is going to be high for him because teams will pay a lot for him. Boston Celtics got a lot of assets. Apparently they're a team that's kind of interested in him. And other teams out there would just be like, if DeMarcus is available, let's get him. Let's see if we can rejuvenate him and get him going. 'Cause he's
I just
an
don't see it
all-star.
happening. They just opened the doors on a new arena. That's their only building
Yeah,
block.
but-
From their perspective, how do you open the doors to an arena and then say, see you later,
Well, because they get
DeMarcus?
off to
Already
a
sold
bad
the tickets.
they get off to
Yeah.
a bad start again, and that's the problem. Then DeMarcus is like, I don't want to go through this again. I want out.
Yeah.
So why don't we come to some arrangement where you can get something back for me while I've still got value on my contract? The longer it goes, then the less his value goes to a team prepared to give up many assets for him.
I think another center that could be traded this year, maybe not as big a name as DeMarcus Cousins, but in the East, Sixer center Nerlens Noel. We already heard him talk about it at Media Day. He addressed the fact that he thinks the 76ers got to trade one of their 3 young centers.
Yeah.
Either him, Joel Embiid, or Jahlil Okafor. You got Dario Saric in the mix as well. He's a solid stretch power forward. It's a lot of young, big guys that you're trying to develop. There almost just are not enough minutes to go around. Nerlens Noel, he's going to be a restricted free agent next summer, so he's sort of the fastest to the payday. I think the Sixers realize that. The other guys sort of under contract are obviously much younger, and they just roll with those 3 instead. And I think you could get something of value for Nerlens Noel. He's a great defensive player.
Yeah.
Has no shot at all on the offensive end, but if you can protect the rim in this league, there's a role for you. So I'll go with him.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Question 67. We talked about overrated teams the other day. Who's the most underrated team in the league?
I think it's the Memphis Grizzlies. This team has star power. You don't think star power when you think about the Memphis Grizzlies, but
True.
Mike Conley is their starting point guard. He's one of the best point guards in the league, probably the best player to never make an all-star game in the league. Marc Gasol is their starting center. Arguably, they're the best center in the league. At 1 and 5, you've got all-star worthy players. That's good enough to be a very good team. I think they could win 50 games this season. I wouldn't be that surprised. Zach Randolph's going to the bench this year. I think that's good for Marc Gasol and Mike Conley because they have to step up.
Yeah.
Marc Gasol gets the ball, doesn't want to shoot all the time.
Sure.
You got Zach Randolph on the bench. You are one of the stars. You've got to shoot. And listen, this entire team, this entire franchise is looked at as sort of a small market team and may go down in our history as a team that just didn't do all that much. They got to 1 conference finals, maybe never really made it. But it's a very, very solid team that doesn't really enter the narrative. Nobody really talks about them because there's just so many other good teams. But this team could win 50 games. The Chandler Parsons edition, I want to see those guys work because on paper, I think they work pretty well.
All right, Trey, who you got?
I think people are sleeping on the Houston Rockets a little bit. Obviously, I'm already in love with James Harden, the future MVP, but I also really love Mike D'Antoni getting hired as their coach because I agree with him that a lot of the time defense doesn't actually matter and that you can just outscore people in the regular season.
In the regular season, yeah.
In the regular season, exactly. I think the team is a better fit around James Harden now. I think Clint Capella will probably be a better center for him than Dwight Howard just because all he's going to care about is rolling to the hoop. They added a stretch four in Ryan Anderson, another shooter in Eric Gordon. They didn't really have shooters in Houston since James Harden has been there, despite the fact they shoot a ton of threes, so I think that they're just going to be impossible to guard. They won 54 and 56 games the 2 seasons previous to last year. I think it's reasonable they could get back to 50 this year.
Yeah, and you already talked about it. They fired their coach last year after 11 games. They lost their first 3 games by an average of 20 points. I mean, they started brutal.
It was
and
terrible.
they still finished 500 and still made the playoffs. I'm with you as underrated. I think the Rockets get back to being easily a 50-win team. I definitely hit the over
For sure.
that you're seeing out there. Very quickly, Lee, who's your underrated team?
I'm going with the Detroit Pistons in the Eastern Conference because after Cleveland, I don't think there's a clear number 2 team. Why can't it be Detroit? I know they're missing Reggie Jackson right now, but Stan Van Gundy has shown he can really manage his players well. Remember back in 2009, he lost Jameer Nelson around the All-Star game. They still went on to make the NBA Finals that year. So I think he brought in Ish Smith. They're going to try to have him fill the gap until Reggie Jackson comes back. They've got some good shooters, good defensive team, a little bit slow, but they rebound the ball well and they block shots. And I think that is what Stan Van Gundy wants to build his team around, a good, solid defense. And there's a gap in the Eastern Conference.
There absolutely is. All right, let's hear from you guys. Underrated team. Let us know on Twitter. We got to take a break. When we come back, oh man, it's going to be a wild 4-man edition of the Hot Seat.
It's going to be
Talk
hot.
clutch players, rivalries, and so much more. Can we all fit on the chair? We're going to break it. Welcome back to the starter 72 burning questions. We are down to our final 5 questions and our final go at the hot seat. So let's tackle this as a team. Tass, you're obviously up first here. Question 68 overall. What's your biggest wish for the season?
I want a team in the Eastern Conference to step up and be a legitimate threat to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't care who it is. I just want to be talking about a team late in the season that we think maybe, just maybe, they can knock off the Cavs. Whether it's the Celtics or the Raptors coming back, the Pistons, the Wizards, or Paul George and the Indiana Pacers, who's probably the biggest superstar of all those teams, and I do believe in those Pacers. Somebody, anybody that makes us think, maybe the Cavs don't do it.
All right, Trey, you're up. Great question for you, Trey. Which old-timey basketball move would you like to see make a comeback?
We gotta bring back hook shots, y'all. Nobody shoots them anymore. It's the Gasols, it's Monty Hunis, and now that we lost Tim Duncan, we've lost another hook shotter. But anybody can do it, whether you're the all-time scoring leader or a rookie guard or just some big oaf. It's an effective shot, and I will argue that the hook shot is the sexiest shot in basketball. That arm totally extended, a gentle flick of the wrist. Bring back the hook shots, please.
All right, Lee, you're in.
All right.
Here we go.
Look at the flick of the wrist.
Oh, Lee, who is the most clutch player in the league?
A lot of good candidates. LeBron, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. But I'm going with Kyrie Irving of the Cleveland Cavaliers. He hit the clutchiest shot of the season last year, which gave the Cavaliers the championship. It was huge. A lot of guys don't want to go up and step up in that situation. Kyrie did. He went there, knocked it in, won the championship for his team. We've seen this before from him. He loves the big moment, the big stage, hits the big 3. This from a couple of years ago against the Spurs, remember, 57 points.
Yep.
He was huge for America too in the Olympics this year. Kyrie Irving, the most clutch player in the NBA.
All right, I love it.
He was huge.
All right, come on. Ask me, Tassie.
Got
Let's
a question for you, Skeets.
Yeah.
What is the NBA's biggest rivalry?
Let's not overthink this. It is the Cavs and the Warriors. I know I'm picking 2 teams in different conferences, but they've met in the finals the last 2 years. They're very, very likely going to meet for the rubber match again at the end of this season. They have the last 3 guys to win MVPs in Curry, Durant, and LeBron. They got a whole bunch of other guys in the top 20, probably top 15 in Draymond and Clay and Kyrie, maybe even Kevin Love. There's just so much talent out there. It's the Cavs and the Warriors. It's our new age Lakers Celtics.
Nice.
And again, we'd be shocked, absolutely shocked, if they're not meeting in the finals. So I'm going with that. Just don't overthink it. And if they do meet in the finals, it'll be the first time ever in NBA history that the same 2 teams met for 3 consecutive years. And I think
All
it's
right.
going to happen. All right, final one here. Final one, boys.
Leads perfectly into this, baby.
The 72nd question. We might as well just all answer it.
Right.
So get on the chair.
All right.
Everybody on
Mount
the chair.
up!
Okay.
Don't break the chair. Just get on the chair. Everybody on. Here we go.
Sure.
NBA Finals prediction. Let's hear it, Tess.
It's got to. You just mentioned those teams: Warriors, Cavs. I believe in the Warriors coming together. It's hard to repeat. Warriors beat the Cavs.
Trey?
100%. We got a rematch, but I'm going with the Cavs over the Warriors in 2017.
Warriors over Cavs in 7.
You're going 7 again?
7 again.
I got to stick with you guys. Warriors, Cavs. I'll also take the Warriors in the rubber match. Kevin Durant, game winner. Game 6.
boy.
Yeah.
Game 6, I'll say. So there it is. Those are our finals predictions. We all agree it's going to be Cavs and Warriors again. Trey, the only one going with LeBron taking down the juggernaut Warriors. So let's see. Let's play some basketball. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the season previews. Let's actually see some ball. But when we come back, you, the fans, decide the MVP favorite. Don't go anywhere.
Young LeBron.
Welcome back to the starters. All 72 of our burning questions are now answered and up on the board.
We did it.
It's over. It was a good year.
Yep.
What a season.
It was a great season. Thanks for joining us here on the starters. One of the questions we debated tonight, most valuable player. We asked the starters fans on Twitter
What'd you say?
for their response, and 35% agree with the narrative/numbers case I was making with Russell Westbrook, followed by LeBron James at 29%. A lot of votes for others, so guys like Kawhi and Durant getting those votes. Steph Curry, 11%. Thanks for playing along with all those polls, guys. This morning, we recorded our first Drop podcast of this 2016-17 season. Topics include Golden State's Draymond Green problem, if he is or not, NBA.com's GM survey, and we revisit some of these burning questions where Taz tells us what's behind his obsession of NBA fish stories.
Quick question, Tess. Number 3, your favorite offseason moment.
Yeah.
Wilson Chandler catching a giant fish. I'm just curious. You seem to know more about NBA fish videos than anybody I know, because I don't know how many
NBA
times
fish
in
video.
the NBA season last year we saw DeMarre Carroll cooking salmon
Yeah,
up in the office. You're the NBA fish man.
I am the fishman.
And you don't fish.
No. Why would I do that when I can just watch NBA players fish? It wasn't a Wilson Chandler catch. I mean, I played it into a Wilson Chandler going fishing and catching a 350, for the effect. But he was with a professional fishing unit, a professional TV show. That's what they call them, right? Units. And either way, DeMarre Carroll's my favorite salmon in this moment. That's my favorite fish moment.
Yeah, a lot of fish talk on that Drop podcast. Guys, this is exciting. On Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, join us on Twitter for our first ever Starters Twitter show, TSTS.
Pretty cool.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Similar to the Drop, taking a lot of your questions. You guys are chiming in while we do it. It'll be a blast. We're also back at 3 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. That is, of course, opening night of the NBA season. Ball is almost here, so we'll get you set at 3 p.m. Eastern. An early start for us because of all the action leading up to it.
All right, looking forward to this coming week. Thanks for joining us, and remember, the NBA season means everyone is dancing, and not looking cool.
Embrace the night, people.